What is up, everybody? It's been some time since I've done an interview. I've been busy, but we are back at it. This is your host with the most, Post Malone. This is your boy Sean. Alright, so Jason just got added. View, go live. So I'm adding Jason right now. We're gonna wait for everybody to start jumping in and joining in.
Hey,
what's up, man?
Hey, I didn't know I was going live with Post Malone.
You know, the host Malone.
I'm pretty pumped now.
That's what I'm saying.
What's up, man?
Nothing much. I'm glad I got this. You're the first person I've interviewed in probably a month and a half, 2 months. A lot of artists have been busy.
Oh shit. You're in my old area, right? Fort Lauderdale?
You were from Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, I used to work at Ink Addiction off Oakland Park. That tattoo shop with the big mermaid on the side of the building.
I'm trying to think where. Because
so you take Oakland Park. If you come from Miami, you take Oakland Park exit, and then you head down Oakland Park, and before you get to the water tower, and there's like a mall that has like Ross and shit like that in it on the left. Right before you get to that, it's a tattoo shop on the right, and it has a huge mermaid painted on the side of the building. It's been there
it's on the street, right? It's there's no parking in the front.
No parking in the front. You got parking.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's right on the street. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. It's right on the corner, right next to a grooming place.
You're right. It's kind of like by I think the street's like Bayview coming up. I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. That was me, man. About 4 or 5 years ago.
So where are you located now?
Kind of southern central Texas, right above Houston, not too far from Austin.
What made you switch from Fort Lauderdale to Texas?
It was a hard switch. So my granny got cancer, and we were really close. Yeah. So I wanted to spend a lot of time with her, and she was in Texas. So I was traveling back and forth, and finally I was like, maybe I should move to Texas. And I moved, and the tattoo scene was just way better here than it was in Florida. So,
I mean, yeah, because you already know South Florida, Fort Lauderdale alone is oversaturated with shops in Fort Lauderdale.
Not compared to Miami though. Miami's nuts.
Oh hell yeah!
There's so many tattoo shops in Miami.
When people ask me to recommend them, shops in Dade, in Miami, I don't even, because there's only one shop I've ever been to in Miami, Inkaholics, but I got work done by Bolo, so I had a specific artist I was going.
Kendall. Kendall. My friend Kendall works there.
He's at and then Bolo's now at Tattoo Baby Shop.
Okay.
So a few shops in Miami that I even refer people to. But everybody who's coming in, if you do have questions, please ask as well. I know it's the early afternoon, so people are going to be coming in and out if they're at school or they're at work. So, in general, tell us something random about yourself that we wouldn't know.
Random about myself. Oh shit. Man, what is random about myself that people don't know? I'm a big animal lover. I own a pit bull and 2 Sphinx cats. I never post my animals on Instagram, but yeah, I own 2 Sphinx cats and a pit bull, and I love the fuck out of my animals. So that's probably not too crazy.
Pit bulls I love pit bulls too.
Say what?
I love pit bulls too.
Oh, it's a great dog. I love my dog. I would shoot somebody quick over my dog.
I would love your animals want you to. They
your animals want you to. They need. Yeah. I've been traveling so much that it's like I have one show left, and then I finally get to go home for 2 weeks, and I'm so pumped. I'm just like fuck. So have you been traveling since the show, after the finale, or even traveling since? I have been traveling nonstop since the show aired. Me and Mike Diaz, that was also on the show, at one time, just in one trip, we hit 10 states, I think.
Shit.
Yeah. It was so long. I mean, we went from Texas to the West Coast, traveled all the way to close to the northeast coast and then back to Texas.
Were you guys driving all of that, or you flying?
Yeah. Mike bought a huge cargo van, and so I traveled with him. And then this next trip I've just done by myself. And so I started off in Texas, and then I worked my way up to Baltimore, and then Baltimore down to Destin, and then Destin to Missouri, and then I'm gonna head back then from Missouri to Arkansas, and then Arkansas to Texas. So,
shit. You ever come back down to South Florida?
Yeah. I was just in I was just in Destin, not South Florida, but in September I'm gonna be a week in Destin and a week in Cocoa Beach. I'm not gonna make it quite down to Fort Lauderdale, but I really like the Cocoa Beach area.
I noticed a lot of because you would think like Miami, South Florida have like really good tattoo conventions, but they don't have like any good tattoo.
No, Tattoo Palooza and Tattoo Mania.
Yeah, but even then, it's like now, like a lot of the artists that I've been speaking to, like none of them have come to South Florida, and if they have, it's been like such a long time, which it sucks because you would really think that it would be like a hot spot down here, but it's not.
No, it wasn't. Tattooing, like I love Florida. Florida's my favorite state, especially South Florida. I miss Florida like crazy. Every time I come, it's harder and harder to leave. But as far as tattoo shows and conventions go, I mean, I've done them, and I don't remember anybody crazy big being. I mean, there was a couple of people, that they came in from like Puerto Rico or Colombia or something like that. But just overall, it was hard to pull big names to Florida, and I have no idea why either.
Yeah, to me, I don't understand it, because now even with like Rolling Loud, like one of the biggest hip hop festivals is down here. So you would think that people would gravitate more because you have Ultra and everything, but a lot of people don't. Even back, always been awesome, even back in high school.
Oh my God. Yeah, that guy he was in the same grade as my brother. I remember him pretty well. So it's been funny being on the show. I've had a lot of people from high school get in contact with me and like, oh my God, I think I went to high school with you, So that was pretty cool.
I was friends with your second cousin.
Right. No, luckily nobody's been hitting me up for like tattoo deals. Like everybody's been pretty respectful as far as that goes. But it's just a lot of people have contacted me and been like, hey, I think I went to school with you.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
I had one girl messaged and said, I think you beat my brother up. I'm pretty mad. I was like, yeah, I was a dick in school, so that was probably me.
So, even like before the show, like I've been trying to describe your style. Like when I would speak to people about the show, how would you describe your style of art or tattooing?
Okay, so I was always kind of an abstract artist. I really liked the emotional side of art, as opposed to. It seems like in America, as far back as I can at least look and study, art has always been very structured. Not saying it's bad; it's just been really structured. And we've had very strict rules that we've stuck by. So I always kind of veered towards the European style art, which was loose and they really played more on emotion. So when I started tattooing, all that stuff was kind of frowned upon. In America, they, as far as tattooing goes, they have very strict rules. And if you vary outside those rules, then, then it becomes a tattoo that's never going to last, or it's going to fall apart. And so, I started off doing more traditional stuff and just your plain walk-in flash tattoos, but I was never happy. And I thought about just not tattooing. So I kind of did tattooing.
How long have you been tattooing? So to kind of see like the time frame, like when did you start tattooing? Just so like we know.
I started apprenticing in 2010, and I tattooed for a year after I apprenticed, and then stopped for 2 years and traveled. And then came back into tattooing in 2013.
So that's crazy. I mean, so you were coming in, which I actually graduated high school in 2010. You would think that starting at that time, that the tattooer will be a little bit more open to not like because new school is getting, it was started getting very popular and a lot more fluid type of designs. So I'm surprised that back in 2010 that like traditional was still like a big theme.
Still,
like,
still a big thing. It's still a big thing. I would say in America, you know, you've got, I would say traditional is still the number one style tattooing. As I've done a lot of traveling, and at conventions, if you're a traditional artist, I mean, people just flock to those booths. I mean, it just, you know, so I started looking at what made a good American tattoo, what people consider to be a good American tattoo, you know, and then I started looking at all the aspects of the European style that I really liked. And I said, there's got to be a way to bridge this gap to where I can still do a good structured tattoo that I know will hold, and there won't be any question about that, but at the same time, put those elements in there that I really like, you know, from European style art. So, and in the last 2 years, that's kind of just what I've been working on. Well, maybe 3, is really trying to bridge that gap between those two styles and come up with something that when people look at it from across the room, it still reads easily and it's real bold, but at the same time messy. So,
yeah, I mean, even then, because a lot of people who do abstract or they try to do more fluid work, they think putting in like black or outlining is like will change it in any way. But I think, like as you said, that strong outline is gonna make it hold, and you still have the structure to where it's your style, and you know, like 5-10 years, it's still gonna look just as good. Because I've seen pieces that were awesome, but with no real outline, and I'm like, damn, that thing is gonna like wash away in a year.
Yeah, you know, and in the beginning when I was doing realism, I was really hoping that wasn't the case. I was thinking, no, I was like, you can do realism, and it still have, you know, a good structure in 5 or 10 years. But even just 3 years, seeing pieces come back was no outline. They really don't hold up as good as the ones that have, you know, a good outline on them. So I do think that there is a tried method there. You know, I'm pretty sure that there was probably traditional people back in the day that tried to do realism and just saw that, hey, you know, this isn't going to hold over the next 10 or 20 years. So I think it's just, you know, it's my effort is going towards trying to figure out how best to make both those come together, where, you know, it's gonna last.
I think your finale piece definitely, like, I mean, as a viewer and as a fan, like before, I was annoyed that like you basically, they kept putting you into a box and you were just like getting pissed. So it's like you couldn't like get out of that box for what you wanted to do, because if you didn't meet the challenge exactly, which to me it's dumb, because they're like, oh, we want you to meet the challenge, but we also want you to put your twist on it. How are you gonna put your twist on it if you want to meet the exact challenge?
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing. That show, man, the one thing they don't prepare you for is how pigeonholed you are. It's luck of the draw. You know, Josh is a great artist. He just luck of the draw. I mean, every canvas that he got, I mean, maybe aside from one, was like, you know what, you just kind of do your thing, you know. And I kept getting canvases, and they were like, no, this is what I want. And I'm like, yeah, but I could do something like this with it. Yeah, no, I kind of want it, you know, I kind of want it like this, you know. And you know, the problem is when they critique them, they judge them based on application, and they judge them based on how well you met what the person wanted. And I think, you know, of course, I lasted longer than I thought I was going to, anyways. But I do feel good that I was the only artist on the show that actually did what the canvas wanted every time. So if I figure if I made it that far on the show doing what the canvas wanted every time, yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, it's bittersweet because at the end of the day, it is their skin, so it's kind of like, you know, you can do better, but if they're happy, that's what, you know. You don't want anybody have a bad taste in the mouth with your name. Which unfortunately sucks. I think people are gonna look back at the show like for the owl piece, when the guy was just like, "Yo, like, do you?" and it came out fucking amazing. I think people who got tattooed by you on the show are gonna be like, "Damn, I really, you know, listen to your artists because they really do know." And especially when they see your portfolio, I mean, I don't know where the hell they get these canvases from.
You know, okay, so here's the issue with the canvases. I don't know. Can you see me?
Yeah, I see you.
Oh, okay. It just hadn't popped up on the screen, I guess. Okay, so the problem with the canvases is that they've watched the show. They're huge fans. And for them, not all of them, but a lot of them want their 5 minutes of fame. That's what they want. So they know that when they get on the show, the more problems they can give you, the more likely they're going to get camera time. You know, and they know this may be the only time they ever wind up on TV. So when they get on there, you know, they give you, sometimes they give you a lot of issues, you know, and I mean, it's just something that you got to deal with. You can't, you know, in a shop setting, I would send them out the door. I just, you know, people book me for certain reasons, and I figure, you know, if you've looked at my stuff and you're booking me, then you're booking me because you want me to do that kind of thing. So when, you know, they approach me, and if I do get clients, and it doesn't happen a lot, but I do get them that say, okay, well, I want this, and then while developing the tattoo before their appointment, they start to switch and be like, oh, you know what, I think I want to go with this style. And I'm like, you know what, that's not what you booked me for. And so I'll suggest them to some place, you know, that I think better fits them. On a show, you can't do that. On a show, you're like, okay, well, this is what I have, and this is what I have to do. So
it's super bittersweet. And being on live TV, I mean, you gotta like watch what you say, who you're saying it to, how you appear. So I mean, I definitely know it's kind of like you're like inside, you're like you're like breathe.
Well, you know, I don't think anybody's prepared to have like 14 large cameras in their face. It's different, you know, like, you know, you tell yourself that you can prepare for the show. And then when you get on there, I mean, everything's, unless you've actually ever been on a TV show before. Yeah, you can't prepare yourself for something like that.
So one of the questions I had is on the bottom, but one of my good friends, Anthony, he said in the end that for the finale, they wanted basically, which I think was politics, that they wanted to have each coach to have one person. Because I want to think, like, how do you feel? Do you feel as if that's what like they did, like politics wise, like, all right, every coach has one person instead of like Anthony having, I mean, I love Rolly. I think Josh did good. And for what I think you guys, all four of you were amazing. But do you think that's what it was? It was like, oh, we want three people, like per coach, or?
Man, I mean, I have been asked that question so many times. Honestly, yeah. I mean, I think I was robbed. I think there's two things that they hit me about application. You know, and of course I didn't deny it. You know, 8 hours in. The way that I work when I do a large piece is I start from the bottom and I finish as I go up.
What they were pointing out, I couldn't even see it on the television. What were they?
Okay, so it wasn't dug in or anything like that. What it was in the ditch of her arm, we did that real fine geometric work, you know, as it came down. So after about 8 hours, some of the ink from the top of me tattooing had, you know, kind of fallen down her arm and dried. And I was trying to wipe it off, you know, and I had the paper towel pretty wet, but as I was wiping off, like the little top layer parts of her skin just kind of started to kind of wear away a little bit and get thin. And that's what they got me on. It was, you know, I talked to the cameraman and he said that they looked at it really closely and he said it didn't look hardly damaged at all. He said it was really just the top layer of skin just kind of just tissued off, you know. I've talked to the girl since then. She fucking loves her tattoo. She said she gets stopped every day. And I was pumped about it. I love that tattoo, and I'm glad that if anything, you know, I got to actually just relax and do something, you know, something cool.
That was my favorite tattoo of yours from the season because it actually was you.
Yeah, that was me.
And I really didn't even see what they were talking about. Like when people were like, the only controversy when people are like, oh, Rolly and this, I honestly think they should have done a top 4, like as it was. Because I don't want to, like, for any of the finalists and you, I wouldn't want to say who. I mean, personally, if it was me, I would switch out you for Juan, because that's who I would have switched out to be in the top 3. Because in the finale pieces, his finale piece was good, but it didn't like blow me away for like to represent for Team Anthony.
Yeah, I think we judged them. All of us got to judge them. We got to get up on the pieces for a good 15, 20 minutes outside the shooting to really take a look at them and kind of make a list of what we liked and what we didn't like on them before we ever critiqued them. Every tattoo had their strong points. Every tattoo had their issues. I don't think anybody was really blown away by any of the pieces. There was definitely Josh's piece was really strong. The artistry was good. but his color choices, I think, were bad.
Yeah.
You know, they were too close to the same color palette to really stand apart. Juan's stood apart, and I liked it from a distance. But when it came down to, you know, head versus head and, you know, artistry, Josh's was a little bit better. And honestly, line work and saturation, Rolly's was better, you know, because we got to see these things heal. So up close, his line work and his saturation was better than Juan and Josh's. But
the design,
you know, anatomically, artistry, and just blending, you know, the color transitions weren't near what Juan and Josh's were. So it was a hard decision. I mean, all of them had their strong points. I always wondered if me and Josh went head to head, because Josh has got 3 times the experience that I do, and I do think that he's a really good artist. But I really wanted to battle him head to head and see, you know, like if it was possible for me to beat him. And I think there was a chance. After seeing the finale pieces and really looking at him, I definitely think that there was a chance that I could have beat Josh.
I've been pitching every interview. If somebody in Inkmaster watches this, I think an amazing, like an off season, like how they have Inkmaster Angels. If they had if they had a show called like Inkmaster Battles, where like anybody who's on Inkmaster can challenge somebody that they think they're better than, or they had a grudge or whatever.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
That'd be so cool. Like it's a spin-off.
I actually like that idea much more than Angels. I think that's really good to be able to call another artist out from a different season and battle against them. I actually really like that idea.
So if anybody, I would say Blad's Inkmaster. I've been talking about this and I've actually been curious to see what every artist wants to see. I would love to watch that, because I mean I like what Inkmaster Angels, but it's become boring to me. Inkmaster Redemption was only interesting because of the controversy, but Battles will be cool because it's actually 2 artists really going head to head together. And it, like this season with Clean and Christian. And I interviewed Christian. Yeah. We actually, this was the first time I actually talked about this was with Christian, and ironically now it's a whole season about them going head to head, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I'd love to see a show like that.
I think that's a great idea. I'm with you. First season of Angels, I thought was a flop. I really didn't like the first season. Second season, I think that Paramount is doing better. I like the background music. I like the way the videography is. I think that the way they're shooting it is better. The caliber of artists, though, I'm a little, you know, like they recently, you know, I'm from Texas and I live right above Houston, and they recently did Houston, and I was pissed. Because there's some artists in Houston that would blow those Angels away. I mean, there's some amazing artists in Houston, and I was really bummed not to see any of them, you know, on that Angels episode. And I feel like that they misrepresented Houston, you know, because of the caliber artists they put on there.
Like Inkmasters, they reached out to one of my good friends, Carlos down here, and they like the interview and everything. He's somebody that can work 24 hours, like it doesn't affect him. But I think because he's so chill and calm and he doesn't have like that hypeness like some of the other artists do, that they didn't choose him for this coming up season, which stinks. It's like, damn, like they're giving away good artists because of their TV personality, which like seeing that, like that's like, I understand too, but you need some of those artists that can even it out between everybody.
You do. I think so. The issue with that is that it's the viewers. You know, that comes down to the viewers. The viewers say that they want to see better tattoo artists on there and see more tattooing. But honestly, for a reality TV show, if they did have that, there would probably be less people. There'd be more tattooers watch it because they would respect it, but there would probably be less people watch it. Because even though people bitch about the drama, you know, and the screaming and yelling and shit like that, they watch it because of that too. I mean, look how popular shows like Jersey Shore was. That show was horrible. It's a horrible show.
They just did they're coming out again, Jersey Shore.
I know. I see that. They what?
They filmed it down here in South Florida.
Oh my! Well, you guys can keep that one then.
So to get away from the controversy, you get more back to you. So how was your particular experience like on the show? You
know, mine compared to some of the other people on there was great. I'm strong mentally. That was one of the things that me and Josh clashed about, was because Josh got very strong personality and he likes big head games. I'm just as strong, maybe stronger mentally than he is. He tried to break me and tried. It's just not. To me, they kept coming up to me and asking me like, "How you feeling?" It's like, "Are you feeling the stress and the pressure?" And I was like, "No, not really. It's kind of like camping." I was like, "It's just a nice little break for me." I was like, "I get to let the emails pile up. I don't have to worry about the shop or anything right now. I just get to kind of relax, So for the most part, during the duration of the show, aside from me not getting to tattoo, what stuff that I would like to do, I actually had a pretty good time, and it was great getting to be around people like Anthony and DJ, and Josh, and of course I knew Deanna and Mike before being on the show, but Deanna during her downtime painted a lot, so I got to really watch her paint and stuff, and I liked it. I actually had a really good time, but I took it better than some other people. Some other people took it pretty hard, so.
Yeah, I forgot the girl's name. I think it was Katie. When
yeah,
one of the most funniest ones, when she was like, "Don't poke the bear." It was, oh my gosh.
Okay, funny behind the scenes. Okay, so 3.5 days to shoot 42 minutes. So everybody knows there's a lot of shit gets cut out. So when she screamed, "Don't poke the fucking bear," it was actually at me.
Really?
Yeah, it was actually at me. So what happened was she was bitching about home life. She was like, "Oh, I got all this stuff going on at home, and it's just like, it's so much pressure and blah, blah." And I'm sitting there and I'm sitting beside Juan and I'm thinking, Juan lost a fucking island. I was like, he lost his house. His shop got closed down. His people are in turmoil. There's no power. His fucking dog died while he was on the show. And I was like, so I said that. I was like, who are you to bitch about remedial stuff like that when Juan lost all this stuff, Oh, she was pissed when I said that. And so I was actually the one that she don't poke the bear at, but we thought it was funny, So.
And they chalked it up to what? Make it look like it was at Josh, which is
Daniel. I think they made it look like it was at Daniel.
I love it. How they switched it to make the controversy.
Oh, yeah.
Puerto Rico, I mean, everybody's going through their own turmoil. You have your family, like everybody has their own issues going on. Yep. To say yours is worse than another person, you don't know what they're going through.
Exactly.
Well, so one big thing I saw this season was a lot of people who are on a high caliber. Getting coached wasn't the easiest thing. I mean, you saw with Josh and DJ.
Yeah.
You saw with Rolly and Steve. So I love Steve. He's become a friend now. Steve's awesome. I think a lot of people underestimated him.
They do.
I think DJ, I wouldn't have made him a coach only because he has so much passion with what he does that it really, like, he'd be more like, I don't know. I think DJ wasn't the best for the coach. And then Anthony, I liked as a coach. I think he himself, I think he was so much better than he thought he was. He was so humble that like when he was like doing stuff with you guys, it was great to see that he really got the respect he deserved. But in general, from like the one specific challenge that I wanted to talk about was when you did the Mermaid, and I believe he had to get tattooed by Mike, and you didn't get coached like that. Do you think the coaching was a strength or a weakness, or do you think it had its moments where it really did help you?
No, okay. So on the Mermaid, that was like a big controversial thing. I didn't know that they were going to. I didn't know if they were going to air everything that went on with that or not. Anthony worked with me for like an hour and a half with that one. The woman came in, and she was terrified of getting a face. And see, the thing is that we can't put faces in our portfolio on the show because of copyright issues. So when they flip through our portfolios, they don't see faces. So we tell them, hey, we can do a face, but we can't prove it in our portfolio.
Well, how would that be copyright? Let's say you just make let's say you make a random woman's face up. Well, how would that be copyright?
Okay, so that last piece that I did on the show, in order for me to do that, I actually had to take 4 different faces and stitch them together. And I had to show them so I took 4 different women, put them together, made one woman, and then went through an airbrush and made all the shadows look like one face. So you cannot do a face on that show if it's not changed at least I think they wanted like 40-50% from the original.
From the original.
So portfolio wise, you can't put faces in there. Even, you know, the only way that you could do it is if you get something, you know, signed by the original owner, whether it's a photographer or the actual person, whatever, saying, hey, it's okay that they have this face. That's the only way that you're going to do that. So when she came, you know, I had a really good idea to do kind of a watercolor style pixelated mermaid on her back. Her back was covered in freckles and moles. Like, I'm just covered. And I just told her, I said, if you were at the shop and I could do 2 or 3 sessions, I was like, I would be okay with it. I would say, but no matter how good I am at color, there's no way that we're going to cover those freckles and moles. I was like, and I showed her in my portfolio people that it came in and had heavy color saturation, and you could still see the freckles and moles through it. And I didn't feel comfortable doing a face with a bunch of spots showing through the face. So I tried to talk her into moving it to the back of her leg, and we fought for almost a good hour and a half, and we only have so long that we can draw. So we so when she applied to be a canvas and she got approved, she emailed somebody told her, I don't know who, what part of the production team told her that she could email photos that she wanted in. She's like, oh, well, I have an idea of what I want. Can I email it in? They're like, yeah. So when she got there, she was under the impression that she could get exactly what she emailed in. So we fought with her, and I told her, I was like, look, I can't do that. You know, I was like, that's just not the way that it works. And Anthony came over and he tried talking to her, and she was just scared. It wasn't anything personal against her. She just had a lot of anxiety, and she was scared about getting a tattoo like that on a show and winding up with a fucked up face. So I can't blame her, you know. So finally, after about an hour and a half and me having maybe an hour to design something, Anthony was like, you know what, maybe we should just do this design and just change it up and make sure that color's in there solid. And so he gave me, you know, for the time that he had, because he was getting tattooed, he gave me the best advice that he could. And so eventually we just wound up compromising, and she moved placement and I worked off her design. So,
I mean, it came out, I think it came out fucking awesome, that piece.
Yeah. So the original artist is a woman, I want to say from like Sweden, and she's a graphic designer. She does a tattoo. And the original design was made for a surfboard. And I actually messaged her, and paid her, to use her design. And then I just changed it up to make it look, yeah. So there was some controversy about it. You know, people were like, you know, we stole it. Well, it's not stolen. I never posted it saying, hey, this is my original work. I even said, you know, when the episode aired, you know, I went live and I said, hey, this is not my original design. I just changed it up to fit the challenge. But the woman who originally designed it, it was just a black and gray. I think it was just a black and gray sketch. She actually really liked the tattoo. She said she'd seen a lot of failed attempts at that tattoo, and that she thought I did a really good job. So
that's awesome that you paid respect to her, because.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. I paid her for the design, you know, and of course I made sure that anytime that it was mentioned, she was tagged in it. So
is this the? Yes, I can't pronounce your name.
This is the Mermaid. Yeah.
The Mermaid we were talking about. I'm just now looking through the comments for everybody. Yeah, everybody's on board for the battle thing. I'm gonna somehow present it to them. What else? So a little bit to actually know you more, not just from tattooing. I watched your thing. You were like, oh, he might ask me if I'm a virgin, or who I love my virginity to.
No, yeah.
But not to that extent.
Because I didn't know what the questions were going to be. So I thought, you know, hey, we'll just.
No, I thought it was. So I mean, I like you to more personal. I mean, like for you, all right, one big thing. Like, what is your favorite show that you watch? Like,
man, favorite show. Game of Thrones is going to be the first one all day long.
Yeah, I tried to Game of Thrones the first episode, and then there was a lot of rape, and then I'm like.
Oh man, that show's very graphic. Outside that show, man, Stranger Things is up there. Netflix, I don't know what happened. Netflix went from being your average pay the monthly watch, you know, mediocre shows to just, man, Netflix is putting out so many dope shows.
You know, Stranger Things was Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers, they pitched it to a lot of like TV networks, and no one picked it up, but Netflix did. Yo,
they regret that shit now, I bet, because that show it's so good. So that, let's see, Game of Thrones, definitely Stranger Things. There's one of my there's an author. I don't know if a lot of people heard him, but it's called Neil Gaiman, and he did a one of his famous books is called American Gods, and he did a show. They did it on HBO. If anybody's a fan of that author, he's a great author. Very eerie, you know. So they did that show on HBO, and it's fucking phenomenal. I can't. The second season is going to eventually come out sometime, but the first season was so good. Let's see, and another one I'm waiting on for season 2 to come out is Westworld. I think that should. Yeah. So I'm not a big Western fan. It's not, you know. So I put off watching this show. And I was just bored one night, and I kept seeing that Anthony Hopkins was in it. So I was like, well, how bad can it be if Anthony Hopkins is in it? So that's the reason why I watched it. Oh, man, that show is – for anybody that's seen Westworld, they know what I'm talking about. It took you by surprise. It's crazy good.
That's why I got into some – I'm big into anime. Like a show like that. In some shows that, like, I actually loved, it was on accident while I watched it. There's a – are you into anime by chance or –
Am I into anime? I have a Hunter x Hunter tattoo on my leg. I do.
Yo,
I have.
What character?
Yeah.
What
hard to see. I don't know if you can see it, but.
Oh, you have like Killua/Gon.
I do. Yeah. So I even have a Hunter x Hunter card, a Hunter license card.
What? That's sick. See, that was an anime. That was an anime.
No, dude, I love One Punch Man. I'm waiting on One Punch Man season 2 to come out. That's gotta hurry.
I couldn't get One Punch.
What?
That was one show I couldn't get into. Because the first episode,
I like One Punch Man. It's just so stupid, but it's funny. Dragon Ball Super. I just finished that. Let's see. Blue Exorcist, Twin City Exorcist. I even like Sword Art Online. The first season of that. Actually, the second season wasn't bad either, but the first season of that was pretty dope. Yeah,
I'm waiting for them to do that in real life.
Say what?
I'm waiting for them to I'm waiting for technology to come where SAO can really happen in real life. Where you can put on like a helmet and divulge.
Yeah. And that's definitely, I got some friends that have been working in that industry since the first thought of the VR headset. And that's definitely something that they're working on is to make an actual kind of like Ready Player One where you can go in and pretty much just do anything.
Then I'd be afraid of not being able to log out.
Yeah.
Like some fuckers like that's the new mass murder. Like 100,000 people go into the game and they can't log out, like how it happened to SAO. But
yeah.
I'd recommend there's like me and my wife who watch food shows together. There's an anime called Food Wars. It is one of the sickest animes. Like they make it so dramatic, but it's so I recommend anybody. It's called Food Wars. Like they literally like when someone eats the food, they like when you feel like, oh, this food's so good, they literally show you in their head how they're feeling, and like all the girls' clothes rip off, and like it's
really. Oh man, is it something you find on like Crunchyroll or Funimation or?
We've watched it on Hulu.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right now it's in its 3rd season, so it's not dubbed yet. The first 2 seasons are dubbed. It is by far one of my favorite animes, and it's a food show because like I've seen my food animes and it's like, but this one is by far one of the most interesting animes because how they do it. I would say.
Oh yeah, I gotta watch it. That sounds super fun. Food Wars. I'm gonna have to look that up.
And it gets you super hungry while you're watching it.
Really?
Because the way they animate this is not like like they really go into the littlest detail of like every little thing into that thing. But that's not even that's dope that you're into anime. Because I'm guessing a lot of people don't even come to you. Like have people come to you and like, hey, can you do this like cartoon style? Or since people really don't know, they don't really come and ask you for that.
I don't have many people that ask me for that, but the thing is actually I would be really good at it because my color saturation and blending is really good. So I've done a couple of Dragon Ball pieces, and they've all come out really dope. I would love to do some more anime pieces. I really like a lot of shows, and they're simple. I mean, it's just bold line work and just a lot of color blends, But I like it. I would definitely take some cartoon pieces.
What about now, movie-wise? What movies are you watching?
Deadpool. Deadpool's at the top of the list right there.
So you saw Deadpool 2 already?
Fuck yeah. I watched it, yeah.
I saw it opening night. I personally think it was better than the first one. I think some of the way they transitioned the movie to different plots, it was not as seamless, but I think that Deadpool 2 was definitely better than Deadpool 1.
Me and a friend went and watched it, and he said that he didn't feel like that it was as good as the first one. I actually did. I was really curious because the first one was so good. Were they going to be able to make a second one that was up to par with the first one? And I feel like they did exactly that. I don't feel like that it changed much from the first one. But I do agree. There's parts that kind of jump around just a little bit. The transitions aren't as smooth. But when it comes to Deadpool and all the weird cynicism and stuff in the movie, I feel like that's one of those movies that can do it and it doesn't affect it a whole lot.
The comedy was on point in that movie.
Oh man, they Ryan Reynolds was just made to direct and play that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think as much stuff as Ryan Reynolds has done prior to this that people have known him for. I don't think anybody's gonna know him for anything aside from Deadpool now. So that's up there. Let's see. Of course, I'm a big superhero movie fan. Anyways, I mean, I think Justice League was real botched. I was pretty pissed at the CGI.
Oh, hell
yeah. I feel like that was cheesy. I mean,
because they
CGI'd his face. It looked horrible.
You know why they CGI'd, right?
Huh?
You know why they CGI'd it?
Yeah, because he was shooting Mission Impossible. He didn't want to shave his beard off.
I
was like, wouldn't it have been easier to put a fake beard? Yeah. Why would you not just put fake facial hair on yourself? I was like,
is just coming out now. So to me, that was really, really dumb that they couldn't come to an agreement.
It was a horrible decision. Horrible. That was and and there was even a guy, and I don't know if he got hired or not. But he spent a few hours and completely CGI'd Superman's face, redid the movie, and then sent them a clip of it, and you couldn't even tell. He did such a good job that Superman's face looks perfect throughout the whole thing. And I was like, I mean, this guy only spent a few hours doing it and fixed the problem, So,
and did it?
Yeah, he did a great job. Yeah, it looks way better than they did on the movie. Yeah, he did an amazing job.
They probably were in a rush.
Huh?
They probably were in a rush at the time that they finished everything.
Here's the problem: is that they're seeing how much money Disney, Sony, and them are making off of these, and they're trying to play catch up. But the thing is that Marvel built Avengers up slowly. They took their time over the last 10 years and built it up slowly. And they can't just come in and play catch up. It doesn't work like that,
Because for people who are not in it, you don't know the Flash's backstory, you don't know Cyborg's backstory, and then the Flash are gonna do Flashpoint, which to me, Flashpoint's really cool, but it makes no sense to tie in Flashpoint with Justice League, because Flashpoint is a very interesting spin-off of like that whole thing. But for Justice League, for people to understand who the Flash is, who don't know who he is, I don't think. I think they should have came out Justice League after they've done Cyborg and the Flash. I think so too. The whole bandwagon of what the Avengers was.
Yeah. They just did it wrong. Like I said, they're trying to play catch up. I hope, because DC has so much potential because it's so dark. And I feel like that you could do R-rated easily with any of those stories and it work. And they've proven now with Wolverine, the last Wolverine, and then Deadpool, that people will come and watch R-rated superhero movies, and they'll make great money. So I feel like DC is the perfect, line of superheroes and villains to do a lot of R-rated movies, kind of like The Watchmen.
Watchmen was
but it was still, The Watchmen still directed better than the shit that they've been putting out lately. So. The only movie I would say that I really liked that they've done so far was the first Superman. I felt like that was done pretty well. Outside that, they've just gone downhill. So.
Yeah, because I think the CW has done way better of showing the DC characters than they have in the movies.
They have. Oh yeah, Flash, Daredevil, Punisher. Man, those are all great. I wouldn't say I'm a Defenders fan. That's not that good, but. And I wasn't an Iron Fist fan. That one got a little too cheesy for me. But Punisher, man. Punisher was great. The Punisher was amazing.
I didn't watch Punisher yet. I didn't watch Defenders because I heard Defenders was horrible. I like Iron Fist. I think they were trying to really get his whole story coming into the season. That's what they said. Season 2 is going to be a lot better because they already laid the groundwork for who Iron Fist is. And because a lot of people don't, who are like, you were a bit of superheroes. A lot of people don't, who had no idea who Iron Fist was.
Right.
So like fans like us were like, damn, like this wasn't as good. So I'm hoping for season 2 because I really thought I didn't get into Daredevil as much, even though I know Daredevil was the best out of all of them. Because when I think of Daredevil, I still think of Ben Affleck.
Yeah. I didn't think he did that bad. I really didn't think that for the time
I didn't think he did bad
Daredevil came out, Ben Affleck did that bad on that movie. I didn't think it was horrible. He got a lot of crap about it, but I didn't think it was a horrible movie.
Same thing when they were like, oh, him being Batman. And everybody was like, oh, let him not be Batman. But now that he's Batman, people are like, oh, he plays a good Batman. Like,
this is what I think. Is he the best Batman? No. Is he the best Bruce Wayne? No. But he is the best combination of both. He's the only one that I feel like plays Bruce Wayne and Batman equally as good.
Like the darker tone of Batman.
Exactly.
Had that more gritty, dark tone that he had.
He's definitely the Dark Knight version of Batman. Once he's basically to that point where he's just like, you know what, fuck humanity. I'm tired of saving these people's asses,
That's why I like in Flashpoint, his dad was Batman and his dad actually used guns.
Right. I think with Iron Fist, the reason why I was let down with that was because I was hoping Iron Fist was going to take the same avenue as Borderlands. Have you seen Borderlands?
Mm-mm.
Oh God, watch Borderlands on Netflix. It's great. They got 2 seasons out now. It's got a very Quentin Tarantino feel, and I just was hoping that Iron Fist would take the Borderlands avenue to where it had a little bit more seriousness. That's my only thing is I don't feel like the show's bad. I just feel like that his character is really immature, and I'd like to see him, but maybe in season 2 he'll be a little bit more serious.
They made it like he was Tarzan, like he was from the jungle when he came back to the world.
pretty much, yeah, pretty much. I'd like to see maybe like a more Doctor Strange side where he comes back and he's a little bit more serious about it. So
I think that's gonna happen in season 2, but now more because people are not like, well, people like in the banter. I just like talking about different stuff because when I interview people, I like to get to know them as the artist and as the person. A lot of people, I think that's what actually builds relationships, and for me and for people to really to know the artist more than their artwork, them as a person. That's what draws me to get tattooed by people is not just the artwork, but them as a person.
Exactly.
Because I met great artists that when they tattoo you, you don't feel that vibe. Like I don't care. I mean, I want to know the person that's tattooing me. I'm going to be able to enjoy that experience. Because I've been tattooed times where tattoo came out well, but the experience was, Yeah,
prime example, I'm in this small town, Nevada, spelled just like Nevada, just pronounced different, in Missouri. There's like, 10,000 people here? 8,000 people here. So, no Starbucks. But they did open a brand new coffee shop a week ago. Coffee's great, man. The coffee's has a really strong, robust flavor. I really like it. The people, though, they aren't very personable. So when you come in, they don't talk much. They don't walk around, ask you how your experience is or anything like that. And so I feel like that's something they're going to have to change, and I completely agree. You can be a mediocre tattoo artist, but have a great personality and be sociable with your clients, and they'll be loyal and they'll keep coming back because people want to remember the experience that they had, So if you're just one of those people that does great artwork, but you're just not very sociable, people they have a hard time relating to you. So I think that there's definitely a 50-50 split there, and you need to treat your clients like family of sorts, anyways.
Like when I was in January, I went to Matt's shop, No Idols. And I was getting tattooed by another person in that shop. But just like when I was sitting down talking to Matt and I was getting tattooed, and we actually on my YouTube, we have a live video where it's like this, where you can see me getting, and like just that experience alone made like that whole thing a lot more enjoyable. Like now I have a good piece, but I actually have like a good memory of getting that tattoo.
Exactly. And Matt's a great guy. He's super goofy.
I was super pissed when he got kicked off.
That was my fault. You gotta be mad towards me. That wasn't a.
Well, I mean,
here's the thing: is that 2 flash challenges. I watched Matt stand in the back. Matt's a great artist. He has a very stylized Renaissance. I mean, he's classically trained. I mean, he's gone to a lot of art schools.
You strategically did a smart move.
I had to. As a fan, I was like, because honestly, like every challenge, Matt was the artist who was doing the challenges. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
like,
he had to go.
He acted like a competitor to kick him out. It was sad though, the piece that he got out on. Definitely sad.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I did in the house is I introduced myself to everybody and asked them what their Instagram was. I followed them on Instagram, and then I went back, and during my downtime, I just made a list of everybody's strengths and weaknesses. And I really looked closely. I zoomed in on the pictures, looked at their blending and how smooth everything was, and, just basically artistry, line work, all that stuff. And I paid close attention, because there's a lot of really good artists out there, but they're good because they're selective on the type of people they tattoo, and that's a smart play. I mean, Daniel's a great artist, but Daniel picks certain body parts and he sticks to those body parts. He doesn't like to venture outside those because he wants that perfect picture. I can't blame him, I mean, he's definitely got some sick stuff. And one of the reasons that he shines so much is because he's selective about the body parts that he tattoos. So with Matt, I noticed that in his Instagram, there wasn't one darker skinned person anywhere in his Instagram photos that he had ever tattooed. So that told me there, that because, I don't feel like it's harder to tattoo people with darker skin complexion, but I feel like that it is different. You have to approach it different. So last minute, we almost gave that piece to Josh. And we were standing up there and we were talking, and I was like, I feel like we need to give it to Matt. I was like, I was like, and I was glad that everybody trusted me. They're like, are you sure? And I was like, I think Matt needs that piece. I think we need to give it to Matt. And it was just a good call. I mean, I really studied. I knew that it would get to Matt. I knew that he would struggle with the idea. And from the very beginning at the drawing table, that was something that he was just like, crap, I don't have any experience with this. And it was already in his head.
I think if you would have approached it as a design, like, I think if the design was better and applied better, even if it wasn't his best tattoo, he wouldn't have got kicked off. But as you said, you got into his head. The design was flawed. The application was, and I was sad because I literally left New York the week before, so I just saw him in the shop, and I was like, damn.
I just found out that so they did an interview with me yesterday. I made the front page of the paper.
Ooh, so look at that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
And they'll read it because it's a small town.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've been going to a local bar. My favorite thing to do outside tattooing is play pool. I'm pretty good. And that's anywhere I travel. Huh?
I love playing pool.
Oh, me too. It's my favorite thing to do. I never get bored. Huh?
Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Do you have the downloaded part where you actually can play text message pool?
Oh, I know that I can do it, but I haven't. I've seen people do it, but I hadn't done it though.
I play that. Me and my friend, we play every day. It's addicting.
Really?
It's addicting. That thing. Just because we play pool, it's super fun to do. And I talk mad shit because I'm good at it.
Oh yeah. Me too. It's definitely that one thing that I excel at. Recently, I bought a whole setup of disc golf. I want to try to get into that. I see it. People play it. It looks like a lot of fun. So I think I'm gonna start playing disc golf. Try to schedule myself some downtime and get out to the park.
Thing where you try to throw it into like the fence.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You throw it into like a cage. It's
like the cage.
The same as golf. You have a course, and the course, is like basically to give you a par 3, a par 4, and so you have your long range disc, mid range, and then drivers. And I went out and played it once, and man, it was a lot of fun. I was like, wow, I mean, I hate fucking golf, but playing this was a lot of fun. So I was like, what, pick me up some disc and give it a try.
Cause it's like a grown up meets with kids, and like
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen that before. Ironically, Though, I mean, I'm only 26, but I don't know why I like golf. I think because like I get anxiety as a person, so I think when I look at golf, it just looks so freaking chill that like when you're like I have a twitch, so like when you're out there, I feel as if like when you're on the thing, there's open field, you're literally just hitting a ball and it's chill. So I can kind of see like how like the same thing with like the what for how frisbee golf is called or
disc golf.
disc golf. I can see it's the same thing. So that's pretty. I've seen it. So that's pretty cool. Let me see. And if anybody else, nobody's been asking questions and commenting. Just trying to see if anything else to get off my list. Oh, big one thing I really was curious about. After being on the show, have you seen a difference? Like someone said, famous TV star. Have you seen? Has it been the same for you? Have you feel as if you get recognized more, or if you get treated differently now that you've been on Inkmasters?
Yeah. The funny thing is that I forget that I've been on the show. So I will be like at a Starbucks or in a grocery store or something like that, and somebody will run up and they'll scream, "I know you," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm looking at their faces, and I'm like, I don't think we've met before. And they're like, "No, I know you. You're Jason, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "From Inkmaster," and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." I was like, "Yeah, that's it." I forget, I'm a workaholic. I work way too much, but I'm really adamant about getting better and progressing. So, like once I got off the show, I just hit the ground running. They suggested that we take like a week or 2 weeks off to kind of, readjust to regular life. I didn't. I had appointments lined up as soon as I got back. I started tattooing, and they were like, "You're crazy." And I've just been running nonstop since then. I mean, I usually tattoo every day of the week, and I probably need to stop doing that. But
you tattoo 7 days out of the week?
Yeah, I tattoo 7 days out of the week. I tell myself, yeah, man, I have a bad habit about crowding my schedule. I really need to hire somebody to manage my schedule because I'm super shitty at it. But
I mean, when you love something so much, it doesn't feel like work. So I can see how like you're not stressed because you enjoy tattooing, you enjoy art. So like you doing 7 days a week, you're getting paid to do something you love. So I can see that, but I know other people getting out the show, they're like mentally drained. Like I was like for Tom Bowman, who's another good friend through all this, he was telling me either him or Craig told me that they make you see a therapist afterwards.
Yeah. Okay, so we go through a mental psych evaluation before we get on the show, make sure that we're not going to flip out and be able to handle the stress. I don't know that mental evaluation is very accurate because there's definitely some people that don't handle it well. And then they're supposed to do it. I guess we're supposed to go through a mental evaluation after. I never went through mine. They may have emailed me and I just probably didn't see it. But they warned us that because we're locked down. So, I was there the whole duration. So it's like 2.5, 3 months.
Any TV,
No, there's no TV. There's no TV in there. They take your cell phones away about 8 o'clock in the morning. You get them back around 10:30 at night. No music. That's one of the things that's hard to get used to is when you're tattooing, we can listen to no music. We can't hum in the microphone. We can't sing, so there's just no music.
Right.
Yeah, that's like a hard thing because for most artists, tattooing and music goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
So no music. And I think Josh was even telling me that during the finale pieces when they were filming those, also no music.
Just, bro, so I don't cut you off. This thing says we have 2 minutes. Wow, an hour's gone by pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it was when I got off the show, it was I definitely noticed that there was a huge adjustment period, mainly from being locked away, just everyday life, gas stations, shopping, tattooing, talking to people on a personal level. It was different. It took me about 3 weeks to adjust back to normal.
I can imagine that as well. I'd love to go more into depth, but I know you got more work to do. We have a minute left. I appreciate you for doing this. I definitely appreciate your time. I love this interview. Is there anything that you want to tell? Because I'm going to post this after. Is there anything you want to say? Any conventions where you're going to be at? Just your final.
Yeah. I got Kansas City next weekend. I got Denver in June. I think I'm going to go to Belgium and tattoo the end of June, beginning of August. I will be in Pensacola in September. I mean, just you know, if people are interested in my style of stuff, just send me an email and I'll see what I can do.
I'm gonna post on YouTube. I'm definitely gonna try to blast Paramount with this idea and have them pay me for
I think it's a great idea. I would love to do it. I think it's a great idea.
I'm actually gonna make a post after this to put in the stories for everybody to do it. But yeah, thank you so much again, man. And if you ever come down to South Florida, I really would love to get